Thank you. This is Damian Turner once again, YouTube. Thank you for tuning in. This is just a brief little lesson about the Hebrew word Elohim. We use the word God, G-O-D. Comes from the German word Gut, G-H-U-T. But it also has its root in the amalgamation word combined together through the Greek language, which is Gomer, Oz, and Dabar, an acronym for Gomer, Oz, and Dabar, meaning wisdom, strength, and beauty. The G is Gomer, which means wisdom. The Oz is strength, that's the O. And the D is Dabar, which means to speak and also to be beautiful. Okay, so God is wise, strong, and beautiful. This is three adjectives that the Greeks tried to describe the mysterious and mythological to them God, which they didn't know personally because they were Greeks, but the true God of the Israelites, the God of Israel, who's known as Elohim at some parts, and also El Elyon, El, the Most High God, at other parts, and then Yahweh, or YHWH, the Tetragrammaton. Some people say Yahweh. So this being the name that is used at the very beginning of the Bible, which is Elohim, E-L-O-H-I-M, as you can see right here, that right there, Elohim. Elohim is comprised of the word Elo, E-L-O-H, sometimes spelled E-L-O-H-E, which means source or origin. Okay, El is the origin of Elohim or Elohim. El is the dominant or preeminent name of the Most High that is known as the foremost in the heavens, or the definite article. Like if we say the, a lot of times you see in the Spanish language they'll have El as the, like El Dorado, El whatever. You know, El is a symbol of the, or the definite article, or the absolution, or the certain, or the exact. Something that is exact is El. You know, they say El. So El is another name of God. You look at the end of most of these angel names: Michael, Raphael, Uriel, Gabriel, Acatriel. A lot of these different angel names have El at the end of them. The reason they have El at the end of them is because El is a part of their name, meaning that they are something pertaining to God. They are a messenger of God. They are the eyes of God. They are the mouth of God. They are the feet of God. They are the hands of God. Something like that. Like there's different angel names that coincide with the beginning of this word Elohim, which is El. So El is another name of God. So what specifically we are talking about is Elohim, which is Aleph, Lam, Have, Yod, Mem. This is Aleph, this is Lamet, that's Have, that's Yod, and that's Mem. There is no letter for O in Hebrew. That is something that is oftentimes symbolized as the ox, which is the Aleph. The Aleph is a symbol of 360, which is God. Aleph, the A sound, that's the very first Hebrew letter, which corresponds to the E, or sometimes an A sound. Sometimes you can say Elohim as an alternate to saying Elohim. So this is just to cover some of the meanings of God. As you can see, God means angels also. God as Elohim means also not just singular God, G-O-D, but also G-O-D-S with an S at the end. So how could one God in the beginning of the Bible, which says in the beginning God, which they have as a singular, how can the original Hebrew word Elohim be a plural? So some people would like to tie this to the theology of Trinitarian doctrine, or the Trinity, saying that Elohim is encompassant of the Trinity, where Elohim is not. Elohim is not three, Elohim is four. Elohim ties into the four living creatures because the E is one part. The E is Aleph, that's one letter. The L is Lamet, that's another letter. There is no O, right? And the O is a part of it as well because it's a symbol of God that is not present, that existed before the Hebrew letter O. There is no Hebrew letter O. Before the Hebrew letter O was known to not be in the language, the O was in other previous ancient languages like Metanetzer of the ancient Egyptians, or the cuneiform language of the ancient Sumerians. And so that O sound was there in the ancient languages, but it was not in the Hebrew language. So the Hebrew language does not have the component of the fourth letter, which it exists, giving you the notion of Aleph, Lam, Have, Yod, Mem in eagle, lion, ox, and man. Man is H-I-M, ox is the O, lion is the L, and eagle is the E. So it's showing you Elohim in the four living creatures at the beginning of the book of Ezekiel. In the Old Testament, you can see Aleph, Lam, Have, Yod, Mem, all right, in the four living creature symbolisms of the anthropomorphic faces that they have that are a part of the symbolism of showing you the word that was in the beginning, which is Elohim. So Elohim is in the beginning of the Torah, and this word is a Hebrew word which has an equivalent to meaning also not just angels, but powers, magistrates, judges. Also, if you look in the book of Psalms, chapter 82, verse 6, as you see it on the blackboard here, Psalms 82, verse 6 says, I have said ye are gods. That word gods, G-O-D there with the S, smaller case, lowercase G, lowercase O, lowercase D, lowercase S. And people will say, well, that's not saying that that's God Almighty because it's lowercase G, lowercase O, lowercase D, lowercase S. So you have to be a demigod, a smaller God, a lower God on the totem pole, pecking order, or in the pyramid, whatever you want to go. So these angels or gods, as they're called Elohim, they go by the title Elohim. Angels do. Some angels go by, like if you was to say the Elohim Gibrael, the Elohim Mikael, the Elohim Uriel, the Elohim Raphael, they're saying the angel Raphael. So angel and the pluralization of angels is the grouping of the word Elohim. So this shows you in the beginning that the angels had something to do with the creation, because it says that God has angels as his handiwork. So you see that angels are also tied into, as a puzzle piece to you, in the word Elohim. So this is just to give you some clarity as to, if you look up in the actual Hebrew language, I'm not talking about just in Greek, I'm not talking about just in the Latin, I'm not talking about just in the Old English or the English language, but go back to the ancient languages that were before the English and the Greek. Go back to the old antediluvian knowledge, if you have access to it, which I do. But the old ancient antediluvian languages also have the knowledge of what Elohim is from an Egyptian perspective, from the theology of the ancient Sumerians, from the language of cuneiform. They have a knowledge of what that is called, and it is called Anunnaki. Anunnaki, as you can see there. So this is just a little brief lesson for the Hebrew language and for you to understand what it is that I would like to convey to you pertaining to the name and title God. It is a very deep word. In fact, it is one of the biggest mysteries. In fact, the Bible outlines that there is a mystery pertaining to God. even the name and word God has a mystery about it. So I am here trying to solve, or to help solve, I can't do it all by myself, but to help solve the mystery of the name of God and what does it mean. So here we are. Elohim, this is one of the names of God originally in the Torah that is a creationalist frequency of God, the creator God, Elohim. Elohim is a part of that ancient Hebraic theology. So I just wanted to give you all some notes, give you all some time to actually see the blackboard and see some of the notes that I took pertaining to the origin of the word God. And this is just only in the Hebrew. I could actually go back to the Egyptian and show you the Egyptian concepts of God and also the Sumerian concepts of God and how they are not too similar to the theology that we have to today as God. They're not that similar to it. But they are similar to the ancient Hebraic perspective of Elohim, showing you that the ancient cultures all had the same theology of God. The Egyptians were not pagan in their origin. As Mitzrayim, they were not pagan. As the Nile Valley civilization, as Nubia, as the ancient Tamari or Tamaray or Kemet, they were not pagan then. They were in contact with how the Hebraic people say God Almighty or El Shaddai or Elohim or El Elyon El or El Elo or Eliyahuah, or some people say Yahweh. They were not disconnected from that God, and they were not on an opposition of that God. So a lot of people would like to try to disconnect the Hebraic from the ancient Egyptian, from the cuneiform, and pigeonhole you into the Hebraic ideology of the Bible as it is only the origin of the Torah. And the Torah is the first part of the Bible that we come in contact with through the origin of the authorship of Moshe, who they call Moses, or Musa in Arabic. So Moses or Musa in Arabic is the origin of our knowledge of the Hebrew word God. Okay, he used Elohim. So if Moses used the word Elohim, we've got to understand his theology of what Elohim meant in his day and time, in order for us to properly understand what God would be still, because God don't change. In this day and time, he is still the same God that Moses was in contact with as I am that I am. Thank you for your time. And my name is Damian Turner, and this has been a brief lesson on the word God, Elohim.